Hi everybody. Today is Sunday the 28th, the last Sunday of 2014, and today we are going to be talking about goals and what we're going to be doing for 2015. If 2014 wasn't your year, you can listen to this and get some tips and tricks on how to make 2015 the year for you. My name is Travis, the digital marketing nomad, and today I have two wonderful ladies here with me, Christina and Renee. Christina, can you start it off and introduce yourself to everybody here?
Absolutely. Hey guys, it's good to see you. I am Christina Irvin, ce-biz-solutions.com, and just really excited to help you out with some tips to get you, started on getting some momentum for 2015, setting some goals.
Sorry, a little bit of technical difficulties there. And Renee, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Renee Sullivan, and I just started my online journey about a year ago online. Um, and I'm really actually looking for some tips. I have a few tips that I'm working on right now. I'm actually one of the things I'm working on is actually coming up with goals that are clear for this year. But I've spent my whole year actually learning a lot online. So that's kind of why I'm here today is to share some of the things that I've learned and share some of the things that I plan to do.
Awesome, great to hear. So getting this started, let's talk about some wins that you have had and how you were able to get those wins, big or small, for your online journey this year of 2014. Christina, do you want to start?
Sure, man. I feel like there's been just a lot of wins. In general, getting started online in itself is a win. Making the decision to actually do it, like not do it as a hobby or a pastime, but really invest in myself and in my training to take it to the next level. It's been a win. Getting my blog up, growing an audience, and really finding some really engaged communities like the work from home community. That's all just been wonderful wins for me.
Awesome. And so what was something that helped you get started? You said you started your blog and just getting online. Was there anything that helped you get to that point?
Yeah, well, you have those life and business challenges that kind of spur you into action. Being really frustrated with uh, having limited time trying to grow my network marketing business, and not having the desire to build it, with the traditional belly to belly way, but rather leverage, time and leverage automation really drove me to do some research to sort of tap into and plug into a community that really helped me learn how to further leverage the internet and time and maximize my time for growing my business.
Awesome. That was a great point you said about communities. Um, Communities are a wonderful way to help kick you in the butt if needed, and give you the encouragement you need uh, to take action to, if you are online, get online, or if you're online, continue to down that journey. And Renee, how about for you? What are some wins that you've had this past year?
Well, I could say I've had a lot of small little wins, and like Christina said, my first win is that I actually made the decision this year to have an online business. I've had businesses that were offline for quite a while, and I guess a huge win is the fact that when I started, I had absolutely no list whatsoever, and I've built that up, and I've had to take this year to learn how to getting Google Plus, and luckily I did find, the work at home communities that's helped, and and I've learned how to build relationships with people online, and just and talk to people, and ask them what they're looking for, what kind of value are they looking for, and um, I guess the biggest win is the fact that I know where to find resources, and I feel that there are people now who trust me to guide them to where to find the answers, and for me that's huge, because you could win for yourself, but if you're not helping others, where's that taking you? If you're going to have an online business and you have no one to serve and no one to help, and you can't show others how to do that, what's what are you going to get from that? So that, for me personally, has been a huge win. And luckily, I've had wonderful mentors to show me how to do that, because there were times that I actually struggled and didn't really know where to go. So luckily, I have found lots of people who help and show and share what they know, and in turn you could show that to others.
Awesome. You made a point about resources and finding resources. Can you touch a bit more on that, on how you find resources and stuff like that?
Sure. I mean, you could start, if you are in some kind of offer or opportunity and there's others doing the same businesses, you could start with your team. And what does your team do as far as resources? Do they have lead capture pages? Do they have a system in place where you could do autoresponder and do email campaigns? Or if they don't, do they know where to find them? Do they have a system for talking to others and sharing what you know? If you're not in that type of opportunity and you're kind of on your own and you're an independent, finding great communities like this one is a good one. In my opinion, this Google Plus community is the best, because there is a wealth of knowledge and just in the people in this group. And if you need something, there are people there ready to give you the answers that you need. It's just a matter of going through a process of weaning out, okay, which community is a good one, which one isn't, which one is just spamming all the time, and which one is actually offering information to actually get you, into cash flow, if that's what you're looking for, So, and for me personally, I had to weed through, okay, this group is like going nowhere. Nobody's talking to each other. But if you can find a group that people actually engage and actually share very helpful hints, that will be huge for you. So I mean, if there are people out there looking for a community that is that, work from home communities is it, in my opinion.
Absolutely. This community has been great. It's helped me grow my business online this year, just when getting more views and driving more traffic just from Google Plus. This community has been a great contributor to that for me. And yeah, I can't say nothing bad about this community. I think one of my big wins was actually just moving away from Facebook and putting more time into Google Plus. For me, that has been a great change in my business. I acquired business through Google Plus for actual clients, and then my actual online business as well. And so, for me, I love the Plus, and so I will continue to expand on it in the new year. But let's get into actual goal setting and goals. Is there any strategies or tips that you guys do to stay focused, or do you just kind of like, okay, I want to get a website up and we'll see what happens? Christina.
Well, I'm trying to think of because there's so many different kind of parts to that. I think one, it's important to revisit your vision and make sure that your vision is actually big enough. All right. So if you don't have your vision, a clear vision, um, you really can't really set an end goal if you don't know where you're wanting to go. So I think revisiting your vision is very important. For me, I'm not as focused on you know goals as much as I am results. And I guess that maybe that can be something that's a matter of semantics. I don't know, but I know what I want my end goal to be. So I'm going to, set forth the results, what small results, incremental results I can get to get to that point, and then reverse engineer that into even smaller chunks. And I think it's absolutely important in doing so. Once you get to that stage of reverse engineering into smaller chunks, really setting some very solid and specific um, timelines and what would be considered a success of reaching that result or that goal. So you can say, well, I want to have my blog up by the end of first quarter 2015. Well, there's having your blog up, there's having your blog up functionally, and then there's having your blog up completely, totally optimized and monetized. So be specific in what you want those goals to be. Have you some specific timelines, and be specific on what the result, what constitutes a success. And then after that, celebrate each success.
That was a great point about celebrating your successes, no matter how big or small they are. Like, if you don't have a blog, for example, and you get your blog up, celebrate that. That is a win. Yes, you might not be making money from it, but you're starting that process. So definitely, that was one thing that I struggled with for a long time. Was like, well, I'm not at my end game yet, and so I'm not going to celebrate until I get there. But
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you from personal experience, celebrate the small wins, because they do they just add that encouragement for you to continue to go forward. Um, at least in my experience, because there's going to be moments where it's gonna suck, it's gonna be hard, and so when you do celebrate those little wins, it makes a difference. Renee, do you have anything to add?
Well, I wanted to really hone in on what you said about having clear and clarity. Um, that is my biggest goal for this year, is actually having realistic, clear goals. If it's a monetary amount that you want to have for a monthly or a weekly income, if you want to go that way, be very specific on, okay, what steps do I need to do to get that? How am I going to get that? Be very specific. Have something in place like that, because, and again, you need that clarity. If you do need to revisit your why. um, if you don't, and I think that is a big reason why most people do not achieve their goals for the year, is if they don't have that clarity, if they don't have very specific things in mind that they want to achieve with some kind of timeline to it. Because there's specific things that I want to do this year. I want to go into rebranding and being very specific and creating a blog and website. Um, for my brand. And if I don't have a clear timeline or a way to achieve that, there's no way that's going to happen. I ended up speaking with a friend of mine who that is something that she does, that's a specialty. And I know, because of the way that I am, I need that accountability to help me get to that. So if you know that you cannot do that on your own, and this is something I've realized about myself this past year, I know that that's something that I need help with, I'm going to go seek that help and find the person that I know that can help you do that. Because I think often, you think that you have to do this all by yourself, and you really don't have to. If you can find the right people that can help you achieve that, you know, many times you have that accountability person, and you can bounce ideas off of others. And it doesn't have to be just one person. It could be a group of people working on the same things and, you know, sharing ideas. I mean, I just had a conversation with someone yesterday about some really great marketing ideas. And, you know, we're not even in the same business, but that didn't matter because we were both working on the same type of goal, and we just brainstormed and we came up with a really great idea that both of us can use. And that is really nice to have. So be very clear on what your goals are, and if you know that you need help achieving it, it's okay to get that help to do it. You know, don't feel like you're here all by yourself, because you're not, because there's so many wonderful marketers out there willing to help. And don't struggle. There's no reason whatsoever for you to struggle, because there are people out there who can help you and will help you, and they're not just in it for themselves. So
I think
I think that's really key, and for people to understand.
Yeah. Like, I think that you made an awesome point that I kind of want to take just a moment, if it's okay with you, Travis, and hone in on. And Renee really hit the nail on the head when she said the word realistic goals. I mean, because so often we get caught up in our dreams, our big desires and wants, and then we set that as a goal. And your goals obviously should make you stretch a little bit. You need to be getting a little uncomfortable for it. But they also need to be attainable, because you do absolutely need small successes to help you grow your confidence and to help you get to that next level. But it's also, you don't want to set yourself up. It's like taking all your money out of your bank account and then going and using your debit card to spend. I mean, you don't want to set yourself up for failure before you even get started. So, you know, if you say to yourself, if you make a goal, I want to make, you know, $10,000 a month. Well, now, have you reached the point currently in your business to where you're making even $2,500 a month? Because if you're not reaching $2,500 a month, then really 10K is not all that realistic. Maybe we should just set the goal at starting it off at let me reach $1,500 a month. Okay, because if you're currently only making a zero to a few hundred a month, $1,500 a month is an awesome goal. It is going to make a huge difference in most people's financial budget from month to month, and it's a huge success. That gives you the blueprint to then scale up from there. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense what I'm saying.
It certainly does, and that is one of
Absolutely.
the things that I've honed in on for my goals for 2015. That was what I didn't do last year that I'm absolutely going to do this year. Yeah. Because if you don't have that clarity, you cannot achieve what you're not clear on. So you are so right, Christina.
Absolutely. And so let's continue with the $10,000 goal. Come on. We are in the start of the year. Let's say by the end of the year you want to be making $10,000 a month. That can be a more realistic goal. But if you have made no money, making $10,000 in 6 months is not, it's definitely possible, don't get me wrong, but it's not as realistic. So if, let's say you're starting with no money online, $500,000 is the first step. And then once you hit that, then reach for 25,000, 5,000, 75,000, and by the end of the year, when you're hitting $10,000 a month, it's attainable. And you've had those wins and you've had successes and you see what's working and what's not. But if you're just focusing on the 10K, then yeah, it's a big number. For a lot of people, $10,000 a month is a huge number. And so you can't think of that all in your head. It just seems so big. It's like an elephant, right? And so what Christina was saying is break that down. You can eat a whole elephant if you take it one bite at a time. Yeah. And so that's the same thing with your goals. Is yes, have your end game goal of, okay, by the end of 2015, 10K, sure. But off the first step, okay, let's say you don't have a website, okay, to get to 10,000, you're gonna need a website. I'm sorry, it's just, I don't know anyone who's making that kind of money without a website. So, okay, by the end of January, have a website. Break those steps down. Pick a goal, whatever it is. If it's financial, it's fine, but I'm going to tell you, if it's only financial, it's going to be a lot harder to reach that goal. I think it was Renee that said it was your why. Your why is so extremely important because making money online is a simple process, but it is a actual work and it involves real work. And so if your why is just money, well, the new episode of shows are out right now. Your new favorite show comes on, yeah, it's going to take you away. But if your why is your kids or your mom, that TV show doesn't look as appealing. And so I highly suggest to really focus on what your why is. And don't get me wrong, money is nice. It's a tool. But to really get over those speed bumps and the hurdles that are going to come up, because they are going to come up, you need to have a deeper why. You really do. So I would suggest, if you haven't, today's Sunday, for the next 4 days, I would really spend time to really dig deep and figure out what your why is if you want good results for 2015. What is up, Danny?
What's up, babes? Hey, sorry I'm late as always. Serving the kingdom of God always lately has made me miss hangouts and stuff like that. But it's good to see a blast from the past. How you doing, Renee?
I'm good. Good to see you too, Danny.
Well, you guys keep talking. I'm going to put myself on mute here and kind of get situated with what you guys are already talking about.
No,
so.
I'm actually going to bring you right in right now. You don't have the time to relax. We are talking about goals,
Mm-hmm.
and what are your what is your take on goal setting? We've been saying that you need to focus on attainable goals and kind of chunk them down. What is your take on goals? How do you get to where you want to be?
I'm going to defer to a guy who I got this advice from on a webinar one day, and I'm sure you guys all know who he is. His name is Mark Hoverson. And one of the things he actually said was, you need to have a vision for your life so big that it requires God's assistance. So it needs to be so much bigger than you, okay, that you literally just make it so big. But then going back down to what you were talking about was, putting it into bite-sized chunks. Let me give an example. We can talk about being $1-million earners one day, but if we have no vision of what that actually look like or how you're going to get there, then it could take you. I mean, you'll just be spinning your wheels. So one of the things is, even though we may have that number in our head, and I don't know what everyone's number is, but I'll share with my immediate number is how I broke it down was my next tier goal is 10K a month, and I've already have that strategized out. You guys know I'm an offline marketer. My thing is, if I acquire one new client a week for 52 weeks plus the residual that comes with that and the site builds, I will blow that number away by the end of the year. Now, if I don't focus on that goal, I'm not going to make it. But even if I do wind up short, is it okay if I wind up making 85?
Heck yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to complain. I know I'm not going to complain.
You're 6 figures at that point. If you're
on over.
85.
Exactly. You're right around that thing. And it's and I'm glad you even started with that word, Travis, which was focus. My goal, and I know you already saw when I sent out some other ones before I think I had showed you, And these were the ones that were supposed to go out to the offline clients I'm prospecting. These were supposed to go out yesterday, but I have them here because I didn't make it to the post office box, but I got to go. I got a bunch of things to do even after I get off this Hangout. So my goal is simply, and for me, one client a week should be child's play when I get all the pieces in place. And Travis is privy to knowing what some of that looks like and has been part of the process in that. But, I mean, I already know where I'm going. I know what number I got to hit, and it's only one new client per week for the next year.
Hey, Danny, do you mind if we take your example? And Travis, I know we started off with a thought process of maybe just doing a shorter Hangout, but as we've gotten to talking, I've realized that there's a few more things we need to discuss to do this subject justice. Do you mind?
Oh, it's going for an hour, I think. I'm looking at the clock, and I'm just like, yeah, it's going to be an hour, which is fine. but
Okay.
So for people watching, just to give everyone justice and to get this topic really discussed, I think it does have to go for an hour. So people do have to off, and then we can see it later. But continue, Christina.
So if it's okay with Danny, which you're such a, an open guy, I don't think you'll have a problem with that. But for your goal, I think that let's develop this a little bit more for people, if you don't mind. So Danny, you have a goal of 10K a month, right? And if you're getting a new client every month and you're doing your builds every month, then you're going to kill it. So and please don't let me put words in your mouth, but I'm presuming that part of that plan, your goal setting plan, includes your acquisition for your new clients, which is going to have, I've got to get so many of those mailers sent out in order to convert so many of them, and this is going to be based off of your historical results, obviously, right?
Correct.
Okay. You've also got to, if you've got to get one per month, you don't leave out the fact that you've got to retain the ones that you have. Correct?
Correct.
So then, therefore, you've got a plan for retention as well.
Correct.
Based off of your historicals. Everybody, I want you to start making notes of how we're walking through this, okay? So he's got an acquisitions plan based off of historical activity. He's got a retention plan based off of historical activity. He also knows how many sites minimum per month that he's going to have to build in order to do this, right? Now, knowing Danny, he probably has a roundabout idea of how much time, weekly, daily, monthly, that it's going to take to get all of these each chunks done. And that's how he's going to start reverse engineering. So, Danny, please, take it from there. But you see what thought process I wanted to sort of highlight for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. The big goal is great, and just and what I guess for people watching is like for that unattainable goal that they think is unattainable, like they get so paralyzed that they don't even take the first step. So even going back to, hey, I want to have 100 leads in my autoresponder, doing internet marketing and not actually going out and prospecting, for example. Well, they know there's some basics they need to get in place before they can even accomplish that. But going back to my point, it's funny how you even use historical data, Christina, because there's even right now, and even I've shared this with Travis, and I don't mind sharing it for everyone else out there. I've had to delay. I already have my first two lined up for January 2015, and I'm behind because I was running into these problems because I was the technician. And if everyone has heard of that book E-Myth, it's a book that you should read, because at some point you just have to delegate the stuff out, and it's great to have the skill, but at some point to actually grow, you need to enlist the help of other people. Now you may be rich in time, or you may be rich in resource, but pretty much most people aren't rich in both. And so you have to work with what you currently have just to take whatever action step first and get to step 1, step 2, and then step 3. So again, for me, it's getting out so many mailers, i.e. plus phone calls on certain days of the week and getting those done as a top priority, doing some consulting, but I've already, within this, I've already built in the system where the videos and pages that I already have up, like these letters actually physically send them to a website or a page where they get more information. So by the time I'm contacting these business owners, it's not a cold call. It's, have you gotten my 2 letters? Oh, what did you think about statistic number 1? Awesome. So that's my whole thing. And I try to use the rejection-free formula as part of my life. I don't just talk about it. I live it. And I don't want to have to constantly pitch people. Yes, I need to educate them, but my whole thing is just giving them enough information, let them make an informed decision. Here it is. Here's the price. Do you want it or don't you? And then done deal, and move on from there.
Great points with what you and Christina said there. When it comes to goals, do you guys break it down to monthly, weekly, or daily things that you do? Let's start with Renee.
Well, I actually do all. You know, you have your big goal in mind, the biggest goal that you want to attain, and it may not just be a number. It could just be tasks. So you break that down to, you know, so for me, I want to make 5,000 a month. Okay, that's my goal for this year, and I'm going to be building up to that. So, you know, I have to look at what are the tasks that I need to do, what are the, you know, the small monetary and the small, you know, non-monetary things that I need to do each day, each week, and then each day to actually get that. So, you know, it's very similar to what Danny said. You have to break that down. If you're going to do mailers, you know, write down, okay, how much time do I need to follow up with all those people that I'm going to be mailing things to. And you know, you have to, if you're going to be using the phone, you know, are your phone calls going to be 10 minutes long? Are they going to be 30 minutes long? You have to have some idea. And if you have several things that you're doing, you have to negotiate that time. You have to have written down, okay, you know, what are the times that I can't, you know, work on my business? And you have to be very specific. So there's going to be, you know, monthly, there's going to be weekly, there's going to be daily tasks, and it could be monetary things and it could be non-monetary things, but you have to have that. Me personally, I have to have that written down so I know, okay, so today is Tuesday. Okay, what did I get done yesterday? What didn't I do that I need to do today because I didn't do yesterday? You know, and it's a constant ongoing monitoring of, you know, what needs to get done, and if you don't reach that goal by the end of the week, okay, you tap it on to the next week. You know, it is a constant process, and it's going to change as your client, as the number of clients you have, you know, it's going to change. You know, things are going to happen that will come into play. So there's a lot that you have to do. Yes, you have to break it down monthly, I think weekly and daily, to make sure that it gets done. Because if you don't have some kind of accountability system, again, you're not going to achieve what you want to achieve.
You brought up a great point. I just want to quickly touch on is writing down goals on a daily basis. I just want to see, when you have broken it down to a daily basis, how many goals you have on a daily basis. How many things you have to do.
Well, there's a certain amount of, for me personally, there's a certain amount of people that I know that I need to at least talk to and connect with in a certain day. So I know that if, you know, and I'm not a full-time online marketer. I also have another job. So I have to designate specific hours in my day where I'm going to be talking with people. And, you know, so I have to make sure within those hours that I have, you know, to do this, that, you know, I have left at least an hour to talk to about maybe 3 people. So I keep my phone calls if I'm going to be following up with phone calls, or, you know, if it's an online chat type of thing, I'm going to talk to them for 30 minutes. Now, again, things will happen. You know, some conversations may not take that long. So it's roughly, so I do need to make sure that I have it very specific. That is the way my brain works, and I don't know if it works for others that way, but I know that there's a certain amount of people that I need to talk to. I know that there's a certain amount of time that I can allow to talk with them. And if I can't do it, I will reschedule it, or, I will make sure that the next day or the next week, you have to, if you're going to follow up and if you're going to be successful, you have to have some kind of plan and something very clear to make sure that you're getting done what you're going to, what you set out to do. Yes, I write it down. Absolutely.
I think that Renee brings up a great point when she's talking about, for me personally, like she's clearly saying I am very aware of my tendencies in operating and how I operate. In order to make it most successful for me, I got to do it this way. And so I'm going to offer something a little opposite of what Renee does, because for me, I tried the whole daily thing. It sets up. I personally know me well enough to know that, based on, childhood stuff or whatever, we're all getting over life things. I don't tend to function very well with a very rigid schedule. I don't like to be so. I don't like to feel like I don't have room for flexibility. As a part-time marketer myself, I found it a little more successful for me to focus more on a weekly goal, and at a higher level, trying to get things. Have a quarterly goal in mind, because business is broken up in quarters. So I have a quarterly goal in mind. I break that down to a monthly goal and then a weekly goal. I for me, it's not a successful thing mentally for me to function daily, and that's because my some things in my schedule with my work and other things come up, and if I don't get the things done, then emotionally and mentally that gets me at a standstill. So by having it done on a weekly level, focusing on it weekly, I can leave myself room to make adjustments. I know which day of the week is going to be the lightest as far as maybe my job. So the days that I have more things scheduled, I can focus more on. Maybe those are the days that I do most of my goal for meeting new people, for example. So that's kind of how I function.
You bring up a great point that I just want to drill down a little bit more into. For your weekly goals, do you write them down, or do you use electronic tools to keep track of your goals?
That, you just set me up to get waylaid by Danny. I know it. So I'm not big on writing things down because I leverage electronics. Yeah, I leverage, because that Google Calendar, you can pretty much you can pull it up on your Android phone, you can pull it up on your laptop, your tablet, whatever. That helps me, sync all of my schedule stuff together on the calendar. And I like electronics. When I write things down, I'm telling you, I don't think about going and looking at it. Even if I put it on a post-it note on the corner of my computer, I don't know how I can manage to overlook it, but I do. But if I've got something dinging, going back to knowing yourself, it aggravates the crap out of me to hear little annoying noises. So that dinging reminder makes me look at my phone. Or it makes me look at my tablet or whatever. So I leverage technology. Come on, Danny, bring it on.
No, wait. I'm going to jump to your defense. Okay. Because myself, I travel, so I don't have necessarily paper and a lot of things to write on. And so I also use calendars. But for me, I kind of use a mixture of both what Danny's going to say and what Christina said. And I use, I don't know if you can see that, cue cards. I write my 3 actions I need to do for the day. This is small enough to fit my pocket. It sits in my ass pocket until it is done. And then, I only have 2, so I can't do it yet. But then, what I do here, we'll use a new one just for, once I write everything down, I physically cross them off. Because, this is today's, let's see if you can see that. See, one has been crossed off. The other one will be done once we're off this call. And what I do, it might sound stupid, it might sound childish, but I do this. And I physically rip it up because that means I know it's been done. That list has been completed. That is my small win for the day, is I get to rip up my cue card.
That's your celebration.
Oh, absolutely. Because that, and this will, if it's not done for the day, it sits in my back pocket all day. And I know it's there because nothing goes in my back pocket. My wallet doesn't go there, so I know it's there. And so for me, having that physical thing helps me. But I'm a technology child. I love my Google Calendar. For me, when I'm working on the computer, I have this chime that goes off every 25 minutes to make sure I stand up and stretch. It pisses me off to no end, but I don't want to hear it go off. No, like Christina said, know yourself and know how you work, because there's no right or wrong way. You have to know what works for you. Make yourself take action. And so, but there are other ways. And so, Danny, I know you have other ways. Let's hear them.
Well, let me just go back, and those are all great points. I mean, we're talking about small wins, right? Accomplishment, action, and then still giving yourself that pat on the back, the celebration that you feel like you're moving towards your goal. And those are all part of goal setting. It's all making those bite-sized, manageable things. Now, before I get into explaining why, in addition to, I'm fine with the technology, I'm fine with leveraging technology, I'm great with that stuff. And before I actually get into that, I just want to go back to something where if we don't accomplish our goal, and I'm going to be one to just even throw myself under the bus on this one. So even the thing that we had talked about a couple weeks ago, guys, I didn't even factor in the holiday time. I didn't factor in, like, I live so day to day that I don't factor in a lot of things. I didn't even factor in this weekend because I don't check there's certain schedules I don't check far enough in advance, because I'm one of those people who don't always check every single email account because I don't like to get distracted. You know, I know we're not going to hit all of our goals all the time. And it goes back to something, and if you know who Dan Cathy is, he's the son of the founder of Chick-fil-A. And so he's basically the president and CEO of Chick-fil-A. And I watched him speak, I think it was sometime last year, and he said the 5 F's of even just running a business, okay? Fast, fun, friendly. Here's a key word, and this is the one I'm going to talk about right here for 1 second. Flexible, okay? Flexible, having the flexibility. So even if you're part-time, full-time, and you have these goals and you're not attaining them necessarily on a daily basis, because you can't factor in relationships, you can't factor in things, you can't factor in life happening, like losing a loved one or someone going to the hospital, or those are these things we have to just be flexible in. So accept flexibility as part of the process, but what I'm saying is, don't just not have a goal, and don't just not attempt to do things, and just not advance for the sake of, whatever it is. Fear, I don't have the technology, I don't have the know-how, so on and so forth. So the story I'm going to get into on why, and the only point I'm going into making right now is that why writing the goal is so important. I had this friend challenge me one time. I hadn't dated anyone in like 3 years. And what happened was I had this friend challenge me. She goes, I just read something that was pretty amazing. And she was telling me how this lady said, instead of focusing on the things that you don't want, focus on the things that you want. And Tony Robbins is good for saying this too. So in this thing, she said, write down the 5 things that you're that you would want in a partner that is just like you. There's no debate or discussion. It's like these 5 things. Most people just write out 10 and they go, here's my perfect person, blah, blah, but that's too many. So when it was 5, these are the things that you just would not budge on. Then it said 5, write the next 5 things of it would be nice if, like, you know, so these are kind of add-ons that they're not make or break, hit or miss type things. And then I even forget the last part of it, but the point I'm trying to make is I wrote all 15 after she nagged me for 2 weeks to do this exercise, and I finally did it. Later on, I wind up meeting someone who is now my current girlfriend and love of my life right now. And actually, is the love of my life, I shouldn't say right now because I'm going into this as a long-term kind of thing. And when I went back and checked this piece of paper, okay, she was 13 out of the 15. Okay? 13 out of the 15. So that's on the whole relationship side. Let me tell you something on the business side. When I was literally broke and had gone without a paycheck for 4 months, I just wanted to make a sale, and I knew I had to sell either a website, a service, a something, okay? And I wrote down the figure that I needed to make, okay? And lo and behold, I didn't quite meet that figure. I was a little short, okay? But I got a check literally the next day. There is something crazy about when you physically write something down. It sends something into the universe. And if Jim Rohn is telling you, and Tony Robbins is telling you, and all these successful people are telling you to write something down, I'm going to do what they tell me to do, which is write it down. Whether you write it down and then also read it to yourself, confess it, I don't care. But it's been the most powerful thing as far as having to manifest things like in your life. There's so much power in the written word. It's crazy. And unless someone experiences it for themselves, I just, all I can tell you is I would encourage you to write something that you either want to manifest, or a goal, and just carry it around with you and almost like repeat it. And I don't care what that is. It could be healing for someone. It could be how much you want to make. It could be you want how many leads. I don't care what it is. Just write something down, and whatever it is, take the action steps to accomplish that thing. And sometimes you don't even have to be the one doing it. That's a great thing. It's like it just comes into your life. And I can't explain it and won't explain it. So write it down.
I
Darn
agree,
it.
Danny. 100%.
Absolutely.
I do.
I love it. Mm-hmm.
I think that, like, a lot of people think that, okay, writing goals down is, yeah, it means something, but I don't need to do it. But I think one thing that Danny did say that was extremely important is what you think about happens. Watch The Secret, great movie, except for it doesn't tell you to take action. But when you think about things, it makes a difference. I have been in Mexico City for the last 7 months here, and nothing bad has happened to me because I don't think anything is going to happen to me in this city. I have another friend who lives in this. I've been to worse areas than he has. What's the difference? It's our mindsets, and that's the thing. It's not just business. It's everything you do in life. For me, everything covers around travel as well as business. And so everyone's like, oh, Mexico City is dangerous. There's all these protests that are happening right now. Yes, but I don't think about them, and I don't. And that's the difference between me and my friend living in the same city, in the same area of the city. And so it also applies to your goals. It also applies to work. Yes, some people still have a job. If you hate your job and you're like, oh, I hate this, it's going to make it worse. I can tell you, I was in a job before I left Canada, 18 months, and I hated every minute of it. And it wasn't until I changed what I thought of the job from day one until the day I walked out. But it would have been March of last year where I said, this is a means to an end. this is going to get me to where I want to go. And when I changed that, the job got better, the job got easier, and lo and behold, quit the job, and here I am. And so when you really focus on where you want to go and not what is happening to you, things are going to change. And like Danny said, they can happen fast. It can literally happen tomorrow. Christina, before you lose your point, go ahead.
No, you said that because like I had 3 of them pop in my head all at the same time. And obviously this is for another hangout, because what we're doing right now is we're really anchoring goals and success in mindset and languaging. And that's self-talk. And that's really important. I know that's something that in 2015 that I'm absolutely focusing on. But guess what, guys? I'm not starting that in 2015. I'm starting that right now today, so that I create my momentum and I'm going to keep carrying it forward today. Because if I don't start it today, then when January 1 comes along, I'll be starting it January 2. All right? So maybe we need to have a hangout one day that we talk about mindset and languaging, because clearly that is something that's been resonating in like my spirit for sure, and in the way it's come up repeatedly on this hangout, it's very important, guys. But the subconscious is so powerful. That is the most powerful tool that you have to either make or break you in life and in business. What you're telling yourself all the time is what you're going to be focusing on. That's what you're going to be looking for. Yeah, I'm in the job that I'm dying to work for myself full time. But I'm telling you one thing, I'm absolutely blessed that job affords me the opportunity to take care of my home, pay my bills, send money to help my family out when I need it, and every now and again I can help a friend out too. And I wouldn't be able to do that without that job. So it's very powerful what you were saying, Travis.
No, and that is a great point, because maybe we can do that for next Sunday, kind of start 2015 off with the right mindset. But what Christina said is extremely important, because she said she is starting today, not on the 1st, today. If you say you're going to do something tomorrow or the next day, tomorrow can continue. When you say I'm going to do something now, and you hold yourself accountable, magic happens. When today is Sunday and I say, okay, I want to start a diet on Monday, and I eat like crap today, it's going to make it harder to start tomorrow. If I start today and I say, okay, I'm going to have a salad, for example, yes, the rest of the meals can be crap, but if you do one small thing today, take one small piece of action, everything is going to get easier. And so don't wait till 2015 to start taking action, to start planning your goals. You guys need to start doing this now. If you aren't, you're setting yourself up for failure. Especially if you're like me. For me, I can say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, and that will never come. I have to tell myself, okay, I have to give myself days and times when things are going to be done. That's just me and how I operate. Learn and figure out how you operate so you can make yourself a better person. Because there's all these techniques. You can look at all these different techniques on time management, this and that. But you need to figure out what works for you so you can set yourself up for success. Because what Tony Robbins might do, for example, might not be how you operate. And so you first need to figure out how you operate and how you think before you can start figuring out how to move yourself forward. And so I highly suggest over this next couple days is really, one, figure out what your why is, dig deep besides money, because money can come and go. Trust me, that's a whole other topic, but trust me on that one. And 2, figure out yourself and how you operate when it comes to. If you're someone who likes to procrastinate, find little things to help you move forward, to not procrastinate. But figure out how you are. If you're very structured, that's great too. Both types of people can be successful, but you have to know who you are so you can take those actions to move yourself forward. But looking at the time here, one last tip here towards goals in 2015, and then we'll call it a day. Let's start with Danny.
Tip for goal setting, definitely going into 2015. Is fill your mind with good stuff. This is, I don't know if you've heard about it, seen it. This thing is 10 times above advertised, and I'm halfway in it. But here's the other thing I want to show you that I wasn't, so you guys know that I wasn't BSing when I said that certain things are written down almost every day. You can read the bottom of that and tell me what it says.
10,000 a month and 120K for the year.
I do it almost daily, even though they're still written down. And this is just like a post-it note of like stuff, again, that was, that I literally fill like my notes and stuff. I write all the time. So again, I don't know what I believe it's something like this. When you're writing your errands down, right? You're writing them for a reason, either to keep them organized, but then it's like you notice what happens when you write them down, even like something as basic as your errands, you go do them. Right? Most people. So again, if you write the fact, I am going to learn this, or I am going to do this, and just like you said, Travis, do it now, your life will start to change if you do it every day.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Christina.
Tip for 2015 goals. I really want to just reinforce again being specific and being realistic and anchoring your goals. Again, I'm really more focused on uh, results this in 2015. So whether you want to call it results or whether you want to call it goals, make sure and make them realistic, but specific, and anchor them with emotion. What you can hear, what you can smell, what you can see, what you can what did I say? Did I say all of them? I can't even remember. Just anchor them in all the senses, okay? Because that is really, make sure, if you're saying my first goal is to hit 5K a month, what are you going to feel when you reach 5K a month? Okay? What are you gonna see? Like, are you gonna be getting some, something new, new car? Is that gonna enable you to have a new car? Like, what is that car gonna look like? What color is that car gonna be? You're gonna have the leather interior. Can you smell that leather interior? What is that gonna smell like? Like, anchor all of your goals. Even, if my blog is gonna be up by the end of 1K or 1Q15, well then, when you have your blog up, that's gonna do what for your business? What is that going to feel like? Anchor all of that in an emotion, and you will not be able to rest. You will not be able to function, I'm telling you, until you get it done.
Great points as well. And Renee, what are your tips for 2015 here?
Well, I definitely like what Danny and Christina said. I also wanted to add, and I touched on it earlier, that if you know you need an accountability partner, get one. Find someone that you trust. You don't have to do this alone. There are so many people out there willing to help. Find someone you connect with, and bounce ideas off of each other. See, what have you done this week? Or what are your successes? What can what are we going to do to do better? Or what did you do great that you can repeat again next week? And if you need that, do it.
That's another great point as well, is you don't have to do this alone at all. especially because a lot of people have unsupportive people in their life, especially when people try to make money online. And so having other supportive people is very important to success. But my tip is just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. If your goal is to have a blog up, create a blog. It doesn't have to be the best blog. You can always fix it as you go. I'm going to tell you 3 words that have helped me get to where I am this past year, and that's you ready, fire, aim. And so usually you have to aim the gun before you shoot it. No. You can start the blog and then touch it up and fix it as you go. And so the process of getting that blog up is a win. You can fix it as you go. As you make more money, you can add to it. You can make it look better. But getting that blog up is the first step. And so whatever your goals are, just go towards it however you can, and it will make a huge difference. Trust me. That's it for this Sunday, the 28th. I'm going to wish everyone happy holidays for the New Year's, and we will see you guys all in 2015. Bye.
Happy New Year.
Bye. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Be safe.
Safe. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.